Hello, I'm Kurt Lidke, Executive Director of Klamath Film, and you just watched Toothache, a K through 12 student film selection paying homage to classic horror tropes set in a dentist office. With us is one of the film's creators, Shelby Huggins. Shelby, thank you so much for joining us. Well, welcome back, Shelby. You also had a film in last year's festival, but that was more of an individual project that you had just students helping out with. This is a group effort. So, how did this film come together and who first came up with the concept?
Well, we first started with the concept going off of a film we were using for another film festival where you have required props and required characters. And the idea kind of came together with my mentor and I, Dan Stearns, and the other people who created the film with me. Mostly, but Balin, Amos, and Linnea Gebauer were my filmmakers. And it started with us just wanting something that was kind of scary and creepy. And Dan Stearns had seen something that was a film example, and he was using it in classes and it as an editing project for his students. So we went off of an idea that was from that project that came with a program that he bought. And it was basically a story about this lady who went to the dentist, and there's all these really creepy, crazy things happening, and she doesn't know if what she's seeing is real or not. And that's where it started. And we kind of took it from there and, of course, made it our own.
So you mentioned Dan. Dan leads the Klamath Union High School film program, which you just recently graduated from. And I understand that after spending some time in that film program, this is now a career that you want to pursue, correct?
Yeah, so I think it was about my sophomore year when I really started to get serious about film. But going into high school, I did film camps with Dan. He does film camp in the summer, and then he also has his classes at KU. And you can actually take a full course through KCC in the pathways and get certified with in media design. And those are graphic design, photography, and video classes, and you also get a lot of experience with working in a business environment and all that. So I've been doing that throughout my high school career, and then I just graduated, and I got my certificate with KCC, and yeah, now I'm going off to major in the film and in Ashland.
Fantastic. Well, how difficult was it to produce and film this project during COVID and during a school year when most of the time students weren't actually in school? Because I know that Dan's program pumps out several films a year usually, and students make multiple projects. Um, with everyone being stuck online, away from classes, did that really limit the ability to make films? And how did this project still get made?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, we were limited a bunch. Normally, we would have like three or four, maybe five films going for festivals like this, especially for 48. This year, I think we only actually ended up doing um, one film, and it was the Toothache. And it was actually all filmed in one day. So that was fun. It does get pretty chaotic the way that we have to get things done, but it's always fun. And the way it was definitely interesting trying to organize everything because no one could really be in the same place at the same time, and we were having issues with our actors and all that. And at the very last moment, we had a complete change of our main character, but it turned out so amazing. And I was really glad that we got to do it because it was looking like we weren't going to get to do any films for a while.
Well, the concept for this film with Toothache, you talked about how it came about, but it feels like either a loving tribute to the classic horror genre or maybe attempting a parody of the horror genre or maybe a little bit of column A and column B together because it's very silly in nature, but you're also trying to be scary at the same time, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's always fun when you can have a little bit of multiple genres or a little bit of that humor to break the ice, I guess. Yeah, it's always great when you can get multiple things going on in there, and we always have to have some kind of humor. So um, It was honestly a good thing, a good practice for us learning how to maneuver horror into different ways we like to portray things that are happening, because it's very different from every other genre you're going to deal with, obviously. So, yeah, it was definitely a learning experience, and I would want to get more into horror and learn more about it. You can go pretty far with it.
Right, right. I mean, there's been films tried, like, the Evil Dead series is a great example where they're combining comedy with horror. And lots of times, films like this just look like they're fun to make. I mean, horror films oftentimes, from the outsider perspective, it seems like people are just having a blast, like having to act scared, but in such ridiculous circumstances and playing with fake blood and guts and whatnot. Like, if you watch old 80s low budget horror slasher films, it looks like half the time the actors are actually laughing instead of being scared because they're having
Yeah.
so much fun with how ridiculous the situation is. Well, because of that, I'm not sure how much horror work you've attempted before, but was it hard to stay in character for this? Because even though you're trying to be scary, it's a really silly film in its approach.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It is pretty silly. Honestly, we didn't have too many problems with breaking character. Our main actress, she was just phenomenal. I love working with her, and I think the part we laughed at the most was the Twinkie and the use of sweets in our film. It was very, very fun to film. I agree with that.
So how many times or how many shots did that gentleman have to have a Twinkie shoved in his face? Because sometimes when they're filming scenes involving food, you get to take 17 or 18 of taking the same bite out of out of sandwiches, and you can't take much more, right? So
Right, yeah, and I think it gets to the point where you're like, "Okay, we only have 2 more Twinkies in the bag, you gotta get it right now, we gotta get it gotta get
yeah.
it this last time." I think they definitely tried to limit, how many times we were torturing him with the sweets, but, he liked Twinkies, so that's good, but he probably doesn't like them anymore.
So where did you film this? You said it was just a single day shoot, so I'm assuming a weekend because that seems to be a working dental office.
Yeah, so we actually used the dental office on Washburn Way here in Klamath Falls. And one of the people involved in our film programs, their parent is either works at the dentist office or is a dentist there. And they very graciously let us use their office for the entire day. And I think it was a Sunday, so they were obviously closed. But they have this whole floor above. That is just a dentist office. I didn't even know it was there, but it was pretty cool, and yeah, we were really lucky to get to use that.
So, when doing things like, flying knives and shoving food forcefully into people's faces, inevitably there's some bloopers or some takes that got spoiled. Any funny stories emerged from the single day shoot?
Oh man, I mean, towards the end there, we were all getting pretty tired and kind of stressed out. I think when we were filming the shot scenes, Dan had to plan a lot of that because we were like, we're not sure how this is gonna work or how we're gonna film this to make it um, editable. Um, so I think the funniest thing that happened was just pretending to stab our main character, and we were doing it in slow motion and then speeding it up. So it was really funny. Dan likes to use sound effects when he's doing things. So he's in the background filming and taking a shot and going like this with his little airplane noises, and it's great. It's always a good time.
So, was there anything from the script that didn't quite fit in? Anything get cut from the overall story arc?
Actually, I don't really think so. The only things that everything kind of got condensed down, but in our original film, we actually did have another scene that was part of a meeting requirements for a film festival. So we had like a chicken head and golf clubs and that kind of stuff. Um, so that was an entire scene that I think got removed for the final, just because we had to shorten it. Um, but there's goofy stuff like that we didn't end up using in the end, but was really fun to film and see.
So, what do you hope that people take away from getting a chance to see Toothache?
Um, my biggest hope is that there'll be a bit of sense of unease, and that people will, after watching it, they'll just kind of be like, huh, what did I, what happened? Just not quite, you know? But I guess my biggest hope is that it's understandable, and in the end it does get a little bit of a laugh.
Well, thank you, Shelby, for being a part of this film and for joining us. Toothache will be screened on Sunday, September 19th at 10:30 a.m. in our K through 12 student film category and available on demand all week. Thank you, Shelby.
Thank you.